Okay. I don't know what I'm going to call this video, actually, to tell you the truth. What I'm going to be talking about, though, is a number of different things. Probably something to do with making your claim as a man. What is there to claim? Your rights as a man on the earth. How do you make that claim? I've been toying with this for a while now. How do you make a claim? And how do you make a claim in the eyes of other men? And what business is it of other men to what the claim is? Who makes up the set of rules that says this is what you need to do? What happens in nature? Okay, how's a claim made in nature? This is what I had to get back to come to some kind of conclusion. How's a claim made in nature? How does a dog make a claim? He goes out and takes a leak on his territory, say territory, or his piece of turf anyway. That's how he makes his claim. So this is how it happens in nature. Simply by physically being in possession, you have claimed your piece of the earth. That's your natural right. And maintaining that possession. That's how you make your claim. Actually physically doing it. There is no special format or special terms of language that you should use to make a claim. Because when you make a claim, you're making it in your own. Say you want to do a written claim, because I was toying with how do you go about doing this, and making it legally correct. There's no need to make it legally correct because you're not dealing with that system. You're dealing with other men. What has to happen, though, is that the men that are behind the legal system have to recognize, behind that fiction, they have to recognize what you're saying. Although you can't directly talk to the fictional system and get it to do something, the men that are behind that system, they have to now recognize what you've said, and they have to say, okay, we need to do something as the legal fiction in order that we don't break natural law, because natural law supersedes everything to do with fictional law. Okay, we're in a natural realm here. We're in the natural order of things. Okay, we're in a material world, and material rules apply in this world. Okay, that's not to say that we don't have a system that's generated by God. Okay, and in order to have a material world, we have to have the complete opposite exist. Loosely speaking, we have to have the complete opposite exist, which would be the fictional system. In order to have balance, we have to have the fictional system. We have to have the anti-Christ, anti-nature system, the Matrix. We have to have that system there, running alongside nature. Okay, where it should be, though, is in a place where it's more balanced. Okay, we shouldn't be in the state that we're in now. Okay, we're at the peak, or headed towards the peak. I kind of hope that we're already over that crest and we're headed back down, back towards balance, but I don't know if we're there yet. And I don't know how much further that what looks to be out of balance right now. But of course, everything works in cycles. Everything is balanced in a cycle. There's going to be times when things look out of balance, even though they're not. Right now, though, things are looking very out of balance to our perception. Okay, because we all have a perception. That's the only way we can perceive the negative and positive. Okay, which are essentially, oh bloody hell, they're essentially the same thing. Okay, what we're perceiving is essentially the same thing. just separated by time. Okay, I don't want to get too. I mean, I'm getting. This is going to be a stretch for some people right now. But anyway, thinking about this claim and how to do a claim. Okay, so how do I now communicate that claim with the fiction? Okay, believe it or not, right now, me simply stating this is me talking to the fiction right now. Okay, I claim the land, the earth beneath my feet, where I make my home. It just happens to coincide with the fictional legal description of the property owned by the person with the same name as the man. Okay, because we've got a whole bunch of issues, right? And the biggest issue is language, the language barrier. Okay, everybody speaks a different language. Okay, so I've just made my claim, right? I've made it directly to the fictional entity that is the Matrix, is the beast system. I've just done that right now because I am speaking into YouTube, if you like, and YouTube is a corporation. It is the system. Okay, this is not the public domain right now. This is a corporation. This is a fictional idea. This what's on the computer now. Okay, because I did get into this on another video, and I was saying about, well, when they project something into your jurisdiction, still it's a fiction though, isn't it? Even though I can interpret it as not being a fiction, it looks very real to me, and I know that it takes a man to stand there in front of the camera to generate that image and make that what appears to be real, to make that idea that you're seeing on the computer screen a reality. Takes a man. Well, now it doesn't take a man anymore, it takes CGI. So whether you want to believe it's a real man or CGI, that's where the problems start coming in. But when it's good enough to fool a man, then the deceit has taken place. Okay, when the intent is there to deceive, then you can't get around that in natural law. Okay, when you project something into somebody else's jurisdiction with the intent to deceive, you can't get around breaking natural law. Okay, I'm going to give him a pass on that. Okay, on the natural law being broken there, simply because what happens is they turn that image is going from reality into a fictional guise, which is a wave through the ether. However you want to imagine that information travels through matter, whether it's a photon of light, a particle hitting another particle, or whatever you want to believe, or an ether perturbation, a wave through space, whatever you want to believe it is, okay, that thing is a fictional idea. The idea that the rule that says this physical object will have an effect on another physical object is great and everything, but what's happening in the in-between space is an idea. Okay, there's an idea that that is going to happen. Okay, it's getting very complicated already. I'm gonna give him a pass on breaking natural law with, let's say, pictures or sounds that come into your jurisdiction. I'm going to give him a pass on that. What I'm not going to give him a pass on is the physical format of a letter or a document that arrives to you into your jurisdiction. That mailbox up the driveway there is my jurisdiction. That is a material object, that mailbox, that belongs to me. I've claimed it. There you go. You know now. Fictional system, you know that is my mailbox at the end of my driveway there. It happens to be on my land. But if it happened to be just off of my land, it's irrelevant. It's my bloody mailbox. It's my physical possession in this world. It doesn't matter if I stick it 100 yards down the road or wherever. If something comes into something that is my physical possession in this world, and it happens to say on there a name that I identify with in my own individual language that I speak, which just happens to sound like English to most people. It's my own individual language, okay? When that mail, okay, when that letter arrives, and I can interpret it as being addressed to me, because I speak all kinds of mumbo jumbo as well. Now you've got a problem, because now what's usually attached to that letter or document or whatever comes is a threat of, if I don't pay you so much value in terms of dollars, let's say, then I've been threatened with some kind of physical penalty for not following your orders. Okay, well, you've got a problem. When you come into somebody else's jurisdiction and do that, and now you know this is my jurisdiction, I'm the man, this is not a fake image that you're seeing now, you've got a problem, because you've been notified. The system's been notified now, and the system itself can't violate natural law. It can't do it. And there is a consciousness to this system. By me just saying this, I'm also talking to my own consciousness. Boy, people are going to think I'm loopy when I'm doing this video. But I'm also talking to my own consciousness, and the consciousness that is shared by other men that create, in our minds, create this illusion, the fictional illusion. Okay, because this is where it comes from. Okay, everybody's been notified. The only man that's going to be able to correct, if you're in this same situation, the only man that's going to be able to sort out your problem for you is yourself. That's the only thing you can do. Okay, what else can you do? And then you've just got to hope that everybody else abides by natural law. Well, I've told the fiction what I want it to do. I want it to abide by natural law. I don't want any more threats from it or claims from it written in my language, or at least a language that I can interpret as being my own language. And if it's in my jurisdiction, I can only interpret it as being my language, unless there's a set of rules that comes with it that explains what language this thing's written in, who it's applying, who it's talking to. No, unless that all comes with it, and then they have to make an assumption about what language I'm talking in order to do this. I mean, the biggest con, one of the biggest cons that the system's done is to convince everybody that they are speaking the same language. Like what I'm speaking now, they want to convince everybody we're all speaking English, a set standard prescriptive version of English, which is not true. Everybody is speaking their own individual language. Now, it just so happens that I can go and chat to my neighbour, and I know exactly what he's saying, for the most part. And he understands what I'm saying. When I talk to a fictional entity, I got no idea what that thing's saying, and it doesn't have any idea what I'm saying either. But it all comes down to jurisdiction, and the issue is a fictional entity has no jurisdiction in this world at all. Okay, so when it starts manifesting real documents, real pieces of paper, with words that can be interpreted in my language, that is my language, those written words that are on, those symbols that are on the paper, that's my written language. Now all of a sudden, there can be no mistake what's being done here, the deceit that's transpiring, that the correct word? I don't know. But anyway, there you go. So what I've just done now is I've just spoken to the fictional entity, which is anything that's in the fictional realm, which is YouTube. Okay, so I've spoken to the fictional entity. I've also spoken to the fictional entity up here, the crazy portion of the brain. And now I just got to hope that God will respect those wishes, and natural law will be followed by the legal fictional portion of the entity that's in, that's I mean, it's here with us, even though we can't see it. It is here with us. Okay, so I don't know where I was going with this, because I got onto this. I was watching a video tonight about some old boy was going on about Trump was nationalizing the Fed, or had nationalized the Fed or something, and I was like, oh, what is this now? I said, when you think about that logically, that statement that guy made, none of it can be interpreted by a man. Okay, number one, it's broadcast on a fictional system, which is YouTube, which is what I was watching. Number two, what language is Trump speaking? We don't know. He works for a corporation. He is a corporate person. Okay. Corporate takeover of another corporate entity, the Fed. Okay, it can happen, but it's not it's not. And what does nationalize mean? It's not going to, it doesn't mean anything what that guy said there, because you can't speak that language, and you end up misinterpreting what they're saying. You think he's claimed that back for the people. Bull. They ain't done nothing. It's just some words that have been said that you don't know the meaning of. And it's the same with the fake news. All this stuff that comes out with the fake news, and everybody that's in these circles, I'm sure you've watched a lot of people going on about, the fake news. They're coming after everybody that's a conspiracy person, that's talking about conspiracies or voicing their own opinion or whatever, and they're coming after them under this fake news thing. And then everybody will turn around and say, what they're broadcasting is fake news, and it's all illegal, blah, blah, blah. It's not illegal. Okay? It's not illegal. Why? Because each one of those corporations or whatever, it's all fictional. Okay? There are no actual rules in the fictional realm. Show me the rule book. Get me the rule book that says this is the rule book for the fictional realm. There are no rules. Okay? So when a news reporter comes on and starts blurting out some crap that you believe, that language, you know what that language is. Okay, this is the problem. Okay? And he's only blurting it out into his fictional, idea of a realm. The TV is fiction. The internet is fiction. The whole of the internet is fiction. There's nothing that's technically being done that's wrong there, because it's all fiction. Okay? Does a TV, even though a TV is a material object, does it exist in nature? No, not without a man inventing it and building it and making it. Okay? So whatever comes across on the airways on that thing, is it actually real? I don't know how to explain this, Even the fact that that image has to turn into a fictional idea of a wave or a particle or some kind of transmission through the ether that is, I don't know if it's undetectable, but there is, something is happening here and something is occurring here, but there's no way you can intercept that signal, and something can occur in between where you intercept it. But what is actually happening in between there could be a fictional idea. It could just be all an idea of what's going to actually happen. You know, this thing does something, and there's a set of rules that is imagined, and this thing's going to react in a certain way. I know it's I don't know how to explain this concept that like traveling. The whole idea of light actually traveling is to a certain degree a fictional idea. I don't know how to explain it. When I get a better idea of how to explain it, I'll do a video on it. I can't go into it right now because I'm just going to go off on a waffly tangent. But what I really wanted to do is do this, this kind of how do you make a claim? How do you even write, how do you even discuss your claim with anybody else? Because it's actually nobody else's business unless somebody comes along here and says, well, this is my claim. I'm claiming this land as well. Then you've got an issue. Then you have to have other men involved to get to the bottom of it. Okay? But when it comes to a fictional entity, so all I can do, I don't even have to put a claim up on the I don't even have to write a claim and stick it up to notify anybody in the public. Why do I have to do that? Who made that rule up? Another man made that rule up. In nature, you make your claim by physically possessing the land that you own. Okay, that's how you make your claim in nature. Okay, and as nobody else is claiming this land as well, there's not a problem. Okay, it's my claim. If somebody else was claiming the land, then there'd be a problem. Then it'd have to be sorted out between other men, not between some fictional system that has no claim on anything material in this world. Okay, so you have a problem when they send you a property tax bill to your jurisdiction, okay, and it's got your name on it. You know it's coming into your jurisdiction with your name on it, and they're making a claim. I've got no way of interpreting that any other way than these people, because they don't know what language I'm speaking. These people are going to come and try and steal my land. So what I've got to do is I've got to respond to them now and say, hang on a minute, where's your claim to this land? And they'll say they haven't got no claim. I say, well, why are you making threats to me and asking me for value? That's the only thing I can do is send. And I know a fiction can't directly deal with a real man, but it has to be addressed to the man that's behind that fictional system, and that man behind the fictional system has to make a correct determination under natural law, and he's got to figure out a way to avoid that problem that the fiction's going to impose, because he's responsible for what that fiction does. Okay, so he's got to turn around and he's got to do something within that fictional system in order for there not to be a violation, because he's now responsible. So anyway, I don't know what else to say. So all I'm going to do, what claim do I make? I can go and put a note up on the driveway, which I probably will do. I'll put this as Dan's land or something. Keep off. Written in my own language. Okay. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's enough. That is enough for what I need to do. Okay, and it won't look too crazy to the neighbours. It'll look a bit crazy, but just as crazy as putting trespassers will be shot up there or something. What most people do. So that's all I got to do, as far as I'm concerned. And I will be writing a note or some kind of something to the county to inform them if I get a tax bill. I don't know what I'm going to do, but they're going to be in violation of natural law. I just have to explain to them that they're going to be in violation of natural law. Once I've explained to them why, they should rectify that problem. If they don't, I don't know what the next step from there is. But yeah, I don't know what the next step from there is. But that's all I can do right now. The only man that's going to save you is yourself. You know, there is no knight in shining armor going to come along and kill the dragon for you. You've got to do it yourself. Anyway, I don't know where else to go with this video. I've waffled on a lot, and I didn't really know, with everything that's going on at the minute, all this craziness, there's a lot of people that they're missing. This is what's driving me nuts right now. They're missing the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is, like I said in another, and there's a lot of religious people out there that are missing the picture as well. I've done this in another video. I'm not doing down people that believe that Jesus was a real man. It is very possible that there was a number of men called Jesus that did exactly what is written in the scriptures, and there's definitely a great possibility that everything that is written in the Bible actually came from real stories, because the way reality works is it works in just analogies and metaphors of itself, over and over, echoing the same thing, the same fractal patterns echoing over and over again. So it is entirely possible that the man really did exist, and those stories did occur the way they're written. But as I say, everything is a sort of metaphoric. I don't know if that's the right word. That's even is a metaphor for the way things work. Everything's there's echoes there of the same thing, and this is what Christ is, in my opinion. Christ is a metaphor for nature. Okay, and this is what's going to save you, is nature. Going back to nature, finding. I'm not saying that we have to completely eradicate the fictional system. What the fictional system is the ability to build tools. That's an idea. That was an idea in somebody's head. That knife that allowed you to go and kill an animal or cut down a plant to eat. That knife was an idea. Okay, it was a fictional idea that man manifested into reality. Okay, that is the system. Okay, coming into being right there. Okay, the clothes on your back. That is the idea there of insulating yourself against the weather. That idea is a tool that came into existence, was a fictional idea, and then came into being by the physical actions of a man. Okay, the same way as the system right now, which is violating natural law, can come into existence through the actions of man, through the agent smiths that go out there and do the dirty work of it, that break natural law in order to enforce this fictional idea. Any fictional idea that manifests into reality can be used for good or for bad. Okay, that knife stabs a guy, kills a guy, or that knife gets you some dinner. It's all about balance. I can't explain it any deeper than that. I mean, everything, that's what God is pure balance, perfect balance. So we have to have the system there. I'm not saying the system has to completely disappear, but it has to come back into balance. Oh dear. You ever seen the film? I can't remember what it was. The Dark Crystal. Is it The Dark Crystal? The guy that does the Muppets. Anyway, that's the guy. Jim Henson's the guy that did that film, I think. and it's telling you right there what has to happen. Okay, and I think it's a grand conjunction or great conjunction where I don't know what bodies line up, but imagine that scene from 2001 where everything lines up in the moon and the sun and whatever other planet. I don't even know what planets it's supposed to be, but anyway, there's a bunch of planets that line up at the end of this year. And I think I read somewhere the last time was 9/11 that happened, and it would make sense with the 2001 reference as well. Very interesting stuff. But this is what I'm talking about, is balance coming back. And so that legal system has to come back into balance and only be used as the tool that it was invented for, which was for people to trade and be able to trade with one another. But what's happened is it's been corrupted and turned into a form of control now, and is violating natural law. When it gets to the point of threatening men in order to get them to do something, then against their will, then we're in violation of natural law. Anyway, I've completely lost where I was going with the end of that video, as I usually do. Gone off on a tangent, just talking, and anyway, I don't know what else to say. Okay, there is a definite violation there when they send a material object into your jurisdiction with a threat. Okay, and they know that the man has physical jurisdiction. The only thing that you can possibly do to clarify that is to go down and just say to him, just write him a quick letter, says, I, the man, have physical jurisdiction over this property. You can call it what you want, because they don't know the language you're talking. So you say, in my language, I'm telling you this now. This is in my language, in my natural tongue. I have jurisdiction. I have claim over my physical property, physical land, whatever you want to call it, however you want to define it. And when you send me a threat that you need some kind of value from me against my will, put into my jurisdiction, I can only but assume that that threat is for me, the real man. I don't know any, fictional man. And there is no fictional man. That's the simple, bare truth of it. If it's a fiction, it doesn't exist. So it shouldn't be coming into your jurisdiction at all if it doesn't exist. And I've went into this in the other video. They know where the jurisdiction of the fictional man is, and it's in their county health records office or whatever it is. That's where the fictional man resides, on that birth certificate. Anyway, can't go any. I mean, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Once they're aware of that, they should not be sending you a tax bill anymore. Okay, they should not be sending you any other kind of threats. I have the weed inspector. The noxious weed inspector comes by every once in a while and threatens me about my thistles in my field out the front here. It drives me nuts. Anyway, that will be coming to an end. And I've been threatened by him, I said to him one time, I said, what happens if I don't go and sort these thistles out as you demanded me to do? And we're not talking about a field of thistles here. We're talking about, a little clump over here and a little clump over there. But the guy's on a power trip. And I said to him, well, what's that? He said, well, there could be consequences. You will probably end up in court, And that to me is a physical threat, okay, which should never have happened. Should never have happened, because that's a physical threat in my jurisdiction. It's worth noting that if you're a real man and you're watching and you don't understand this stuff, you better start figuring this stuff out, because balance always has to be maintained. And like the elites that run the system say everything's in plain sight. Well, nature's in plain sight, and the rules are there for everybody to interpret. And there's an excuse to being naive, and that's all very well. But if a real man was to turn around to you and say you need to go do your homework on natural law, and then that guy, that police officer, or that, there's no excuse for that. Once he's been warned, and it's the same with the claim. Now the system's been warned, okay, and I shall notify the county. Once they've been warned, there's no excuse. There can't be an excuse, and there's no excuse if I go down there and say I need to speak to the. In fact, that's probably the best way to do it. Go down and have somebody with you that can write down what's been said, or have a letter that's with you that has, and you basically read through the letter, read through the claim with the guy, give him a copy of it, okay, read through it, and then you have him. It doesn't matter what he does, all he has to do is accept it from you, okay. You have him sign your version of it, or have a notary say, I want to have the notary here while I explain this to you, and they can just put a dot on here just to say that this is nothing for me, this is so that if there's a problem here, we know that you've listened to this. Okay, that may be the way to do it. I don't know what it takes to have a notary come in and, or give it to the damn notary and say, I just want a receipt to say I've given you this letter. But you've got to have a counter. You'd have to have some kind of, some kind of counter document, so that you've got a copy and they've got a copy of exactly the same thing. But anyway, that's how I would do it. That's how I'm going to do it, actually. Problem is I can't go down there now because of all this nonsense. Anyway, I'll have to phone them up and actually see if they're even open for issues for violations of natural law or whatever. Anyway, what more can I say? That's it. 37 minutes. I hope you got something out of this. And just a final closing. The problem that we've got at the minute is too many people are seeking or still believe that there's a remedy in the legal system for a man. There is no remedy in that system for a man. Okay, there may be a remedy for a corporation or for a trader, but for a real man there is no remedy. And the problem is, people, okay, the man that's looking for this remedy, he has not come to the conclusion yet that there's this space between the fictional, I don't know which one, the fictional side of the thing and him. There's a space here. There is no direct connection, okay? There is no, the man just simply plays along, okay? When you can figure that out, then you can start getting somewhere. Okay, you're just playing along with an idea. Okay, you need to figure out that there is a separation there. You need to figure out that there is no set of rules in that system that's going to help you. Okay, because it's a fictional system. There's no written down set of rules. It's all fiction. The person that's above that person is above that the rules can be changed if needs be, and you see it all the time in law. There's the evidence right there for you in the laws that they make up. The rules and regulations, they get amended all the time. Okay, that doesn't happen in nature. It's a set of rules that are set. Okay, they don't change. There is no messing around with it. Okay, That's the problem, okay? Trying to interpret language that's in that system, you can't do it. Because it's not for you. It's fictional. That language can change all the time. Why would they need to keep coming out with new editions of Blacklaw's Dictionary or the Chicago Style Manual? You know, why would that need to be? Why would you need to have a new edition of it? Why? Because it's not. It can be changed. It's fiction. There's no set of rules for it. It's fiction. Gosh, I know I'm probably talking to the converted here, preaching to the converted, but there is a definite disconnect from people that are seeking this sort of stuff, seeking this sort of knowledge, and what is really what is really out there, what the real solution is, which is nature. There's a massive disconnect there, and even from the people that believe that Christ is going to save us. Yeah, that's right, but it's not going to be a guy coming along like Trump or anybody else that's going to come and do the work for you. You have to do the work yourself. Okay, and it's very simple once you understand what nature is. It's just simply going back to nature. That's the work that you have to do. The only work that you have to do is be yourself, your natural self. It's driving me potty. Anyway, there it is. 40-something minutes. Hope you enjoyed. I have to stop it here because it's like 1-something in the morning. It's almost 2 o'clock. Christ. Gotta go. Alright. Hope you enjoyed. Like, share these ideas with other people, okay? If you can, if you're getting what I'm saying, share the ideas, please do. Alright, anyway, bye for now. Bye.